Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Shauna from Created and Made, and today we are going to be talking about several different fun ways that you can use placemats in your arts and crafts and mixed media. Yes, placemats, good old-fashioned dinner setting style placemats, but we're going to be using them for art. So fun stuff ahead. Stay tuned. Okay, before we jump into the makes, let's talk a little bit about the mats themselves. Now, I have more placemats than probably a normal person has because I do like to use them for the projects I'm going to show you. But the one thing these mats have in common is they're all pretty cheap. Now, I get them at the Dollar Tree, at Hobby Lobby, wherever I find them. The unifying quality is that they don't cost a lot of money. If I'm going to spend a lot of money on placemats, I'm going to use them for dinner, okay, not for art. So you can find these all over the place, and when you look at the makes that I show you, you'll realize, you'll kind of get an idea of the characteristics that will work best for that make. For example, some makes require a fabric-y placemat like this, and good old Dollar Tree there, and some makes require something that is more non-porous, plasticky material like this one, also Dollar Tree. So even though I will drop links where I can, if you can't get the exact mats I'm showing here, you'll be able to find some that will work for your projects just by looking at the characteristics of the mats. But for me, the main characteristic is inexpensive. Okay, stay tuned. Okay, the very first way you can use these placemats in your arts and crafts is probably the least creative way, but it's one of the most useful, is as a work surface. Now, this is a really spacious, cheap mat I got from IKEA, but it's made out of this plasticky, non-porous material that is perfect for working on when you're using inks or paints or what have you, because it's really easy to clean. And even if you don't get it all the way cleaned up, it's fine because it's not your work surface. You're keeping all the mess on this plastic material. Now, I was using an alcohol ink on here, and it's just alcohol ink usually stains, and if you can see, there's still some pink left over. It just cleans right up with a little bit of isopropyl. So these are great for working on top of. And if you have kids like me, I've even used placemats in this fashion where I cut a hole in them, because this is a larger one, and I cut some hand holding holes in this one so that it's easier for my kids to carry it around if they're going from like their playroom to the dining room or whatever. And it was pretty easy to get these holes in there, even though this is a thicker placemat, which I would recommend for this technique. It's kind of a foamy material, so I just use my X-Acto knife, cut out those holes, and we can carry our projects to wherever they need to go. Nice and portable, easy to clean. Work surface. That's the first way you can use these placemats in your arts and crafts. Okay, so the next way you can use your placemats in your arts and crafts is probably my favorite, and that's as texture on your gel plate. Now here I have my little super dirty 8x10 gel plate, and the kind of placemats you want to use to make texture are going to be the ones that have a pattern, some sort of embossing, a texture. So for example, this is the one I'm going to demo for you guys today. This is just a burlappy sort of twine jute material placemat that I got from Hobby Lobby during the holiday season, and I'm going to show you how it makes a great pattern and texture on the gel plate. Now, I am demoing this. There's going to be, during the course of this video, projects that I just show you as opposed to demoing for you, because I don't want the video to be, you know, an hour long. So if there's ever a project that you see that I just show that isn't demoed and you would like to see a demo, go ahead and leave a comment below letting me know, and I will be sure to take a look at those and see which ones I can get demoed for you guys. Now, this is just like any other gel printing you do. Get yourself a nice thin layer of paint on the plate. You're going to place the placemat down, and I'm going to get a sheet of paper here just to go ahead and get some pressure on the plate. Now, this isn't to pick up paint, because this placemat is a little thick to pick up paint through the holes, but you do want to get pressure to transfer that pattern onto the plate. Now, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up, and you'll see just how well that pattern has transferred. Now, you're really going to see it after I pull this print. Let's get us a tag here. And go ahead and pull this up. See that? That part is still usable too. So we have this usable print, and we have this beautiful tag. Look at that. You get a lot of the texture from the burlap sort of twine texture that's going on, and just the pattern of it. It is stunning. And I love sort of finding stuff like this when I'm out shopping and I see it and I'm just like, that would look incredible on the gel plate. And I was right. Now I'm going to show you guys one more. And it's this sort of super cheap. I think this might have been less than $1 placemat I found at IKEA, and it has a slightly embossed texture. I don't even know if that is how visible it is. Okay, you can probably see that on the camera. It has a slight raise to the texture, meaning it's not a flat piece, and it should transfer really well onto the gel plate. And let's just get some paint going. I'm just gonna leave whatever is still on there. We'll just show up in our next print, I guess. I don't mind that. Get this beautiful, what is this, rouge color from Master's Touch, spread out on our plate. That's probably just a tad too much paint. So get that rolled off. Okay, so like with the other one, you just want to get your placemat on and give it a good mush. You just want the texture to have a chance to transfer to the plate. It doesn't take much. This is probably plenty of pressure, and I'm just going to pull this up. And I don't know how well you guys can see that, but you can see that it pulled the plate onto the placemat. So we'll just get this pulled off and see how it turned out. Awesome. You see how that texture just transferred so well, and I even have the outline of a tag in the making there. So this is a really great, and is the way that I use these placemats probably the most. A great way to add texture to your gel plate prints is using these placemats. So let's take a look at the third way. Okay, so the next way is actually related to the second way I showed you guys, in that it involves gel printing. Now, these are homemade texture plates that I made by using my placemats to imprint in my own homemade gel plates. Now, I will link a video up top where I showed you guys exactly how to do this. Now, these are permanent plates, and they give you the ability to replicate the texture from your placemats over and over again. Now, I've had these for over a year and some change, and they keep very well. Now, they haven't been stored well. That's why this one has a chunk taken out of it. But if you store them well, they will keep for forever and ever. But, you know, why do this? Why not just take the placemat and place it on a regular gel plate and take a print like that? Well, this is, you know, it's just a different iteration on the pattern. It's like the difference between a stencil and a mask. Like, yes, it's the same pattern, but you'll get a slightly different take using one versus the other. Now, this is also a really good way to get a pretty true representation of a fabric texture in a print. So if that's something you're going for, this is a great way to accomplish that. Now, I use this placemat to make this little plate, this placemat to make this one, and this placemat, I can't put my hands on it. It's I can't seem to find it, but I'm gonna demo this one for you guys just to show you how you can get this fabric-y texture to reproduce itself in a print by making your own texture plates. Now, these homemade plates, they do hold more paint than the plates you can get in the store, and that just means you'll get more pulls off of it, which to me is not a bad thing, but it rolls out a little differently. If you do a lot of gel printing, you'll notice the difference between the homemade plates and the other ones when you're rolling out the paint. Now I'm just going to take a little tag and I see a little extra paint pooling there. Take a tag and print this like I would anything else. Just give it a mush so that texture will pull, and let's see what it looks like. Now there you can see how you can get even those very fine bits of texture that were in the placemat. They live permanently now in this plate, and you can pull that over and over again. So if you're interested in making your own texture plates, go ahead and check out that video that I linked up top a little bit ago. And it's real simple, it's real easy, and you'll be able to make your own whenever you'd like. Okay, number 4. The next way we can use our placemats is as journal covers. Now, placemats often make very great journal covers simply because they tend to be flexible, durable, sturdy, all the things you want in a journal cover depending on what you're trying to cover, right? So I've done a few here, and I'm gonna show you the different ways you can use these. Now this is done in traveler's journal style. I have some eyelets that are holding a piece of elastic here, and you can slip your notebooks in and out, and this is a nice cover for them. Now this is a glittery cover that has a canvasy backing that I got from Hobby Lobby during the holiday season. It is amazing. I wish I'd gotten more of these because I like the glittery shiny effect, but there's no loose glitter. I have yet to see a single piece of glitter fall off of these placemats, so that is amazing. So traveler's journal style. Okay, I have 2 here that are bound that I use my cinch to bind, and with these coiled attachments here. So the first one was this is just a plasticky placemat. This is what it looks like originally. They actually still have these watercolor flower placemats at Hobby Lobby. If you're interested, I'll leave a link to them below. But this just required me to cut it down to size, punch it with my cinch, and then bind it. Find some paper, bind it up. And I have Instajournal with a beautiful sturdy cover. Now this one was a little more work, but I used a fabric placemat, and I just cut it down. I separated the front. This is the front, and this was what was on the back of the placemat. I separated them from each other, and I used one side to cover the front, and the other side covers the back, obviously. It is cut and glued, and then I use this to cover all the fold lines, and it just makes a beautiful, unique fabric covered journal. And finally, I have this one. It started out as this, standard placemat. I'm pretty sure I cut it because I cut off the cut off the rounded corners, trimmed it up a little bit, folded it, and then this one is staple bound. Now you can't obviously staple through placemats that are this thick with a regular stapler. I think I use my thick, I have a stapler for thicker papers and mediums that I use to staple up this really sturdy, large journal. So these are just a few ways you can use the placemats to cover a journal, and I'm going to show you the next way that is related to this right now. Be right back. So related to the journal covers I just showed you, you can also use your placemats to replace the covers on your happy planners. Now I got this one at Ross here recently, and I like the inside. I like what the system looked like inside, but I didn't like the cover. So this is a really easy way to replace those covers that you don't love. So for anybody who uses these disc bound systems, you know that the covers and all the pages just easily pull off like that and can be replaced if you have something that will punch the happy planner style holes. Oh, or you know, like I've cut these style holes myself. As long as you have some sort of template, you can do it yourself too. But I am going to take my Hobby Lobby watercolor flower placemat that you guys saw in the last segment, and I'm going to cut it down to size to use in my happy planner. So put this off to the side. I'm gonna bring in my trimmer really quick, and I've measured this to be about 9 and some change by 11.5. But what I want to do first is I'm gonna cut off the rounded corners, because I'm gonna end up needing to re-round them anyway. So I'm just gonna chop those right on off using my Tim Holtz Tonic Studios cutter here, and this side is going to be 11.5. And this shorter size is about, it's not quite 9.5, it's about 9 3/8 or so. That'll do. Okay, let's put this away. Now, and you can go ahead now and take your corner rounder and re-round your corners like so. Super quick, super easy. These placemats cut really well. This particular one at least. And now I'm gonna bring my happy planner punch back in. I'm gonna get this about as centered as I can, and then give it a punch. Sorry, that was kind of loud. And so you see it has that nice happy planner edge on it. And I can go ahead and pop this back on, and even coordinates with the discs. That purple color works really well. And I have a beautiful, unique cover that I like, replacing the one that I didn't enjoy so much. Now for the cover on the back, you can, if you have a second placemat, you can replace this one too. And that doesn't really bother me because I'm not looking at the back, but you know, you do what you want to do. So that's the next way you can use your placemats as a cover for your happy planner. So we've talked about using placemats as journal covers. Now I'm going to show you how you can also use them for journal closures. In fact, they are particularly excellent for journal closures because they're obviously depending on what kind of mat you choose, but they tend to be really durable and really flexible, which are two things that you want a journal closure to be. Now I have this just little composition notebook that I covered with a gel print. I haven't even used it for anything yet, but I put this little closure on it with a cute butterfly, and that's how it looks on the back. Now this closure started off as a placemat that looks like this, and I just cut it up, I painted it, and then I adhered it to my journal. Is easy peasy, super simple. Now I think I had to gesso this first because it wasn't showing the paint in the best way before I gessoed it and made it white. But when you're dealing with something that has a weave like this too, another tip I will give you is you need to make sure before you cut it up that it's what kind of weave it is. Like some weaves are just loosely, like they're bound together and they're sewed on the edges, and now those weaves will come apart if you cut them. But a weave like this, that is, these pieces are adhered together, you can cut this into smaller pieces and they make excellent journal covers. I mean, not covers, closures. Now I'm going to show you guys another one really quick, demo it for you. This is a piece of that glittery placemat from Hobby Lobby that I showed you before. I've just cut a piece off, and I'm going to round the corners first. Show you how super fast and easy this is. I have some, I don't know what kind of glue this is, reptile glue probably, and I'm going to put some on the back. Now this is one of the best features of this particular placemat, is that it has a canvas backing. That, as opposed to it being a plastic backing, that it makes it really simple to glue. Now I'm going to center this where I think I want it to go, and I'm just going to stick it down, make sure it isn't crooked. I have this glue that will dry on the back, and while that is happening on the front, we could adhere some Velcro dots. Now I just stick those together. They have adhesive on them, but I don't tend to leave the adhesive as is. I give it some glue to make sure it holds the best it can. So I'm going to add some extra adhesive here. I'm going to stick this down right here on the end of the piece of placemat. Add some glue here as well, and then just fold it on over, stick it down, and I have a beautiful glittery handmade closure for my journal. Now obviously all of this stuff needs to dry. I'm gonna try to pull this open so I can show you what it looks like. Open, close. It's got some nice rounded edges. Beautiful. So I mean, this will work with any placemat you have that, again, is an appropriate mesh or plastic, or this is kind of has a fabric backing. As long as it's flexible and can hold an adhesive, then it will generally work as a journal closure. So the next way we can use our placemats is as a stencil. Now, obviously, you're going to need the right kind of mat to use this as a stencil, and that's generally going to be one with big enough holes and this sort of plasticky material that can you can spray through and it won't get damaged. Now, as you can see, this one has a pretty floral shape, and this one has a sort of concentric circle shape. Now, I have taken this one and I've used it as a stencil to put some texture paste through, and I put that on this tag, and then I use some ink over the top. But you can also just spray the ink directly through the placemat as you would with a normal stencil. I'm going to show you that right now. I'm going to get 2 pieces of art paper. I think this is watercolor paper. And I'm just going to put the placemat right on top. And I'm going to get my distress spray stains and show you what this placemat can do. Now, because it is this plasticky material, like any other plastic stencil, it's going to have the ink that beads up on the top. And we're going to be able to take a print of that too. I'm using mustard seed, picked raspberry, and this is Uncharted Mariner. So before I pull this up to let you guys see what it's looking like, I'm going to try to get some of this ink off of the front, and you'll get a sneak peek of what the print will look like. Just give it a good mush, try to soak up some of that ink, and then go ahead and flip that over. You see how well that transferred? It's look at that. And that is just ready to go right into a journal, because it's 2 facing pages and it'll work great for any journal spread. Now let's pull this up and see what it looks like underneath. Ta-da! Look how great that is, you guys. So these sort of placemats are perfect as stencils. Now you can also use them on the gel plate as you would any other stencil. So keep an eye out when you're out and about and you're shopping. Keep an eye out for placemats that would work really well as stencils and that have a beautiful pattern like this one. The final way I'm going to tell you guys about to use your placemats is to cut out tags, bookmarks, or other ephemera. Now, most of the placemats I've shown you guys today will cut like a dream. This is that same Hobby Lobby placemat. These are the scraps that were left over after we did our Happy Planner cover. Now, I've just taken my Dina Wakley tag. I traced it on the back, cut it out. I punched my hole, and just like that, I have a beautiful decorated tag that's ready to go into a junk journal, a regular journal, or even on a gift, right? So that's one way you can use them, but you can also, with this placemat in particular, can you take a look at that? Will you look at that? That is stunning. This placemat in particular, I've used alcohol ink to colorize it. It was originally this one, the glittery one from Hobby Lobby. I got it during the Christmas season. I don't think they sell it year round. I wish I'd gotten more of them, but it's by Robert Stanley. It was $3.99, but it's probably 60 or 70% off, so a dollar something. I wish I gotten more than two, but these colorize just beautifully with your alcohol inks, and that's a bonus method you guys can try with not just this kind of placemat, but any of the ones that are non-porous. So if you had like just a plain plasticky sort of placemat, you can more than likely use your alcohol inks over the top. And so I've tied a piece of tulle here, and now it's ready to go as a gift, a tag, a bookmark, or what have you. So I hope you guys like that video. Sometimes I feel like such a weirdo because I like to take these non-traditional random things and try to make beautiful things out of them. But I hope you got your creative juices flowing and you will look at your placemats a little differently from here on out. So if you like this video, please leave a like and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And I hope to see you guys next time. Have a creative day. Bye-bye.